Hello, it's Project Management Demystified. So, welcome back to episode 7. Episode 7 of trying to reducing our carbon footprint in our organization. So, we've covered a number of things in the last couple of episodes, and in the last episode, I was talking about establishing teams and trying to create operating rhythm for the project, and I was talking about Agile. So if the project is kind of following an Agile approach, some of the things that they would have to put in place, I covered a few things, and then I was touching on if it was a traditional way of working, traditional project management approach. So in an Agile world, you'll be meeting regularly, and then in a traditional world, you can have kind of project boards, maybe weekly or bi-weekly, depending on what the teams need. And what do we need to consider to know if we'll be doing the project in a waterfall approach or an agile approach? If you want to get quick, fast feedback, if it's a complex project, if it's a project that you're not kind of sure of how you want to go about it, then it might just be safe to use an agile approach to explore things. So because what agile will do is that we're meeting regularly, we're identifying risks regularly and continuously, and looking at where we can pivot and change things quickly. But if it says that the leadership of the organization has given us a mandate to do A, B, and C, and we're clear about what we want to do, then we can use the traditional project management approach because we know what we want to do. It's not complex. Yes, it's always challenging, but it's not novel, it's not new. It is something that we're clear on what we want to do. So we'll just kind of plow through the things we want to do. And the same things apply, identifying risks regularly. And if someone asks me, how do you identify risk? The answer, the response I will give is by observing, by listening, you will identify risks. You might not know the subject matter, but experienced project management professionals can listen to conversations, active listening, and observe body language, observe the way people speak, tone, and then ask questions that will then flesh out or bring forward risks that might be in people's minds. I know it's funny because how would you say observing is how you identify risks? People expect you to have tools that you use to identify risks. Yeah, you can look for tools that you use to identify risks, but there's some risks that you just have to listen, you just have to observe to kind of flesh them out. So we're having regular conversations. We're doing some documentation. I'm not really a fan of documentation, but you just have to do them because they are required in some instances. Yes, they're required for governance purposes, for control purposes, especially for projects that could have some legal implications, regulatory implications. You want to document things so that you can show to regulators that these are things you're doing. But I'm not a fan of documenting just for the sake of documenting, but sometimes you just have to do it because that's what the organization wants. But it is good to document things that are important, but not, say, minutes of meetings, for instance. Maybe not necessarily, maybe just actions or the key things that come out from the meetings. So we've created some project documents, the required project documents, and we're reviewing this, we're going through. So each day, what will the project management professional be doing? So facilitating conversations between stakeholders and making sure that we're on track in terms of what we want to achieve. So in an agile world, we can say in the next 2 weeks, we want to do X, Y, Z. And then we kind of come together and we'll kind of swarm and try to achieve XYZ. In a waterfall world, in a traditional world, we want to do everything, and we've put in plans with milestones. So we want to achieve this by this time, want to achieve this by this time, want to get this approval by this time. So the project manager is putting things in place to make sure that those things that we have set out to achieve, we're achieving them. We're meeting these milestones. We're identifying issues and resolving them, and the budget is aligning, the costs is aligning with what we want to spend. You're doing some end value management calculations, but not actual calculations. They're just checks that have been put in place. Maybe if you have the PMO or you have a separate PMO, there'll be kind of touching base with the project management professional to see how we're going in terms of budgets. That's if the budget has been approved, if we've agreed that that's a certain amount of money that we want to spend. What else? Maybe let me just stop there again for today, and then I'll see you on the other side. I hope you're learning. Cheers. Bye-bye.